Hello everybody, welcome back to the English Reverse Leagues experiment. I honestly don't really have that catchy a name. I guess we'll go with Reverse Leagues experiment, he says at the beginning of video number 2. Welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed that first part. We are 10 years further on into the future. You might be able to hear my audio is still not amazing. That's because it's taking a lot longer to put up this phone than I thought it was. But we can give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek. We're making some progress. It's slowly but surely. It's coming along. It's coming along. So, with all that in mind, I feel like the narrative changes from what I thought it was going to be. So the initial thought was like, okay, well, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how long it takes for the teams to return to the top. And, well, I mean, we saw it at the end of the last video. Not very long. The top 4 from the last season included Liverpool, Chelsea, and Manchester City. And I think Salford was actually still 4th. But, like, it was a little bit anticlimactic in a way. So the narrative shifts now. And it becomes, what happens to the Premier League sides that don't get promoted in the first few seasons out of League 2? Will they ever return, or will they really just be stuck and just languishing forever? I think one of the other interesting things was that I believe it was Wigan who got relegated to the Vanarama National League and did not make it back. So let's start with Wigan. It's 10 years. Have they fixed themselves? Yes, but oh my god. It took them almost a decade to go back up. They were relegated in 2022, and they were promoted again in 2031, 9 years later. And they are currently in League 2, but that is a colossally bad run of, or not even a run of form, really, 9 years. That's an era of disappointment there for Wigan, who, well, I mean, it's shocking to me that it took them this long. Because, of course, remember, we only switched the first 4 leagues. Like, the Vanarama national teams and below are the same as they normally would, be. So I think what we want to do here, let's start with the National League. Is there, you know what, let's actually not start with the National League. Let's start with Tier 6. Just to see if something wild has happened. Are there any teams that should not be here? I don't really notice anything. Farsley getting relegated, rip. I'm not really seeing anybody. Maybe you guys will see somebody that I'm missing, but nothing looks too surprising there. Okay, so now, well, if we go into the Vanarama National League, though, who is there? How long have they been there? That's the question. Well, going from the bottom, not that many, really. Really at all. Bolton is the biggest name here that hasn't been able to get promoted again this season. Becoming a little bit of a yo-yo club in recent years, but never spending more than 1 season in the National League until now. So it looks like things have sort of normalized the way that I expected them to. Notts County, of course, did get promoted to League 2 and then actually survived. Remember, this is when League 2 was predominantly Premier League sides. They survived for a really long time, also the better part of a decade, and they even finished 7th once, although at this point I imagine it's normalized a little bit. But that's really fascinating. I want to see how this has sort of affected their finances long term, because they had a lot of time where they were probably getting away games against like huge clubs, home, like tons of away fans coming in. Yeah, I mean, they've got $7.5 million, not a terrible amount of money for a club in the 5th tier, to say the least. So now let's switch things up. I like what we're doing, though. I like that we're going from the bottom. I kind of think this is a little bit fun. League 2, are there any Premier League sides still languishing in League 2? Not really. I don't see any. They've all made it out. It's taken time, but they've all made it out. Even Forest Green making it in. I mean, Forest Green, of course, starting in the Prem. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's a bit of a fall from grace there before returning now to League 1. Wigan, of course, back in the big leagues, if you will. Nothing really of note to see here. Looks like Leeds won the playoff final in League 1 this time. So, of course, this is where we'll start seeing more of the IRL Prem teams, just because, you know, it takes a little bit of time for them all to get promoted. And not that many, but Leicester really struggling. Leicester It took them about half a decade to get promoted. Then they got relegated again, and now they've just been promoted, and this is their first season back. So Leicester, probably the biggest club that's having a huge problem of making their way forward. And I believe you can see this reflected in their reputation. I believe they start with 3.5 stars, 4 stars even maybe. Like Leicester City's reputation has really tanked. Other than that, we've got Stoke, Fulham, Leeds, a couple big teams in here, Crystal Palace. But things seem to be normalizing slowly but surely. And this doesn't really leave that much space for non-Prem teams in the Prem, honestly. Everton, relegated back down to League 2. Oh, man, that's a yikes for them. Very, very hard time for Everton. They've slowly been improving over time, but that has come to an abrupt halt as they are down at, what is this? Promotion? What? Why does it say green? I'm very confused. I'm very confused about that, but it's fine. Yeah, that's wild. Their star player, Devontae Croft, really not the kind of player you'd expect to see at a club like Everton, but they're going back down to League One. Sheffield United in here as well. They actually managed a double promotion here and have sort of been languishing in the championship since then. Not honestly the worst performance. Aston Villa, a little bit up and down by the looks of it. They struggled to sort of maintain a championship spot, but now they are well into... I mean, talk about cutting it close. 21st, 3 seasons in a row. I mean, we're missing a lot of big teams, which means that I think the Prem... Yeah. So the immediate thing that jumps out to me is the one team that has solidified themselves as one of the new giants is Salford. Salford has been... Wow, they've been so consistent. 4-star rating, regularly competing in Europe. Salford have been so good in this experiment. They are the real winners, I think, here. Obviously, Liverpool, Tottenham, Man City, Chelsea, Man U in the top 5. But some of the big teams are kind of missing, Like, where's Arsenal at? Arsenal down in 10th? Maybe that's not too unrealistic, given the state of things. But, yeah, I mean, Leicester, of course, the big one. Thus far, I would say the big winners, Salford. The big losers, Leicester. If we go to the past winners, Salford only won it once. They have not won it since the big boys returned. They've actually never placed top 3 since the big boys returned. They've just been so consistent. And it's been a little bit of a downward trend. But they've stymied that with a 6th place finish this time around. I'm really interested to have a look at their squad a little bit. They've got Roger Schmidt in charge of things. What a coach he is. All right, their key player is Steve Burrell. Wow! 33 goals and 55 caps for England. This guy is insane. Holy crap. I want to see more about Salford's team. Let's see. I mean, average rating wise, he's the only one who's really been an outstanding performer this season. Nikita Goginiev is oh my god, he's so good. They've put together an incredible team here. If we were to look at just general info, the value. Eric Meunier is in here. Is he good? Yeah. Yes, he is. Carlos Alberto Soler. Also, I mean, Salford have put together a pretty stunning team. I want to see their facilities, actually. How big is their stadium now? They've built a 15,801 all-seater, so definitely smaller than what we see from most of these teams. This was constructed in actually the year 2022. So, right at the beginning of this experiment, I feel like they've got a lot more money now. They might even be considering building a new one if they can't expand it much further. But, yeah, they got a 15-year ground sponsorship that's ending next year, actually. So, really, really interesting to see how they've done. Even though they haven't really won anything except for that first initial season back in, I think, the 2nd season. And other than that, I mean, West Ham, how have they done? I mean, yeah, I mean, a lot of these teams, have Arsenal had any good performances? Yeah, I mean, they actually rose back up pretty quickly. Not the fastest, but sort of in that second wave. And they've done okay. I mean, honestly, they've just kind of been doing Arsenal things, really. So, this is Reading have stayed around. They've been a mainstay. They got relegated one time and immediately got promoted again. Yeah, I mean, there's not really any other tiny teams, really. Of course, Burton Albion is the other team that was sort of moved up a little bit. They're one of the weaker teams that are still in the Premier League, and they've also seen a little bit of a drop-off. But it's wild to me that these teams at the top really managed to maintain the players that they needed to reestablish themselves as effectively as they did. Derby, of course, also in here. I guess let's check the cup competitions really quickly, and then we'll check how things went down in Europe. I just want to see any surprise winners. Burton Albion actually did win an FA Cup in 2027-2028. They won against Man City in the finals. Oh, that's the wrong button. Taking out Salford in the semis. I mean, this is a great run. Norwich there, not the hardest opposition. But who did Liverpool actually go out to this year? This is they're nowhere to be seen. Absolutely nowhere to be seen. Where is Liverpool? What the hell happened? I mean, this is a super minor thing in the grand scheme of things. Okay, they lost to Man City. Wow, that is an unfortunate third round draw. Oh my God. So good on Burton Albion. They've got a little bit of silverware in the trophy case. Salford, I'm seeing a couple of runner-up spots in the Carabao Cup, but no surprise winners in this tournament. So now I guess we'll just go to Europe, and I don't really want to go through Europe too much. I guess we can start by looking at the coefficients. We can't see it too far back, but it looks like England is... Wow, England is back on top. And, wow, England is destroying everybody. I mean, I think part of that might just come down to the fact that we're only simulating England. I don't know if this is actually accurate, but from my own experience, I feel like the nations that you don't simulate just are weaker in international competition. I don't know if that's accurate, but it seems that way sometimes to me. But it is surprising that they're back on top by such a wide margin. Past winners, yeah. So Salford winning a little bit of more recent silverware here, winning the Europa Conference League. Chelsea also won this way back when they were in the third tier. So, that's not bad by them. How about Europa League stuff? I mean, it hasn't even been... Wow, Shakhtar won once. That's... I mean, I guess it's not that surprising for the Europa League, but good on Shakhtar. And then, so for the Champions League, it hasn't really been that dominant. I would have expected it to be a little bit more dominant given the coefficients. Obviously, that's... just generally means you're doing better as a whole and not just one team sort of excelling, but it's a lot of domination by teams like Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern, and then we do have a decent number of English winners, I guess. Chelsea there, twice Man City, Liverpool once. Yeah. So if we look at if we look at some of the top players right now in the Prem, you know what? Actually, no. I want to see very briefly what has gone on with the English national team. Have they been affected by this at all? I would imagine not really, but let's see what they've done. If we go all the way back, we're not seeing any tournaments there. Quarterfinals of a World Cup, that's pretty standard, I think. They got to the third. They got fourth place in the Nations League. Good job. Third round of the World Cup, lost to Italy. That's a little bit disappointing. It doesn't look like this has really had a Oh, wow, they won the Euros. Wow, okay. So it doesn't look like this has had a negative impact on the national team at all, really. Whoa, they won the World Cup? Back-to-back Euro and World Cup titles. Wow. Wow. Okay, so, yeah, you hear that, English FA? Just reverse the leagues, and you'll win a World Cup and a Euros in the next 15 years. All right, that's going to be it for this portion. We're going to go forward another 15 years, and we'll see how things look 30 years into the future. We'll see if Salford and Burton are still doing well, and we'll see if Leicester are still struggling way down at the bottom. Here we are. The year is now 2050. It is 30 years into the future, And really, there's just two main things that we need to sort of focus on, as we mentioned in the first half. The two protagonists are now Leicester and Salford. On an unrelated note, I hope my voice is starting to sound a little bit better. We've made some very good progress on the acoustic foam. I still have a long way to go. It's a very echoey room, as I'm sure you guys are well aware at this point. So the game plan is basically to cover the whole room, including the ceiling. So things will continue to sound better, but I hope you guys can notice a little bit of a difference at this point. But for now, let's start with Leicester, who have progressed just a little bit. So they were promoted to League One, and they've basically just been a League One side now. So they got into the playoffs once. Does 7th get into the playoffs? Or is it 6th? I think 7th might actually be playoffs, right? I think it's not. I think 6th is playoffs, right? I'm curious. Yeah, okay. So they've only actually made it into the playoffs once. At this point, I think it's safe to say that the big losers remain Leicester. Their reputation has gone down significantly. Let's have a look at some of their better players. I mean, they're in League One, so I'm sure they'll have a couple. Wow. I was going to say I'm sure they'll have a couple good ones, but they're all loanees. This guy's from Newcastle. Their best player who belongs to them is Nick Long. Oh, that's depressing. I mean, it isn't great. Wow, so Leicester really, really struggling. And now the question is, has Salford maintained their spot? Yine? It looks like they have ceased to be a European mainstay. They are now more of a mid-table side. Honestly, though, still very well done for them. They have never been relegated during this experiment. One of probably the only teams to never be relegated. Maybe the only team to never be relegated. Let's have a look through the leagues real quick. I mean, past winners, it looks like Man City has really sort of taken the crown. Nothing else particularly strange going on in those regards. Portsmouth doing pretty well. If we just scroll through these a little bit, Brighton having a good season there. Portsmouth and Brighton seem to be pretty solid. Derby finishing in 7th that season. Nobody surprisingly making it into... Nobody super surprising making it into the Champions League at all. It's really just teams in and around the European spots. Burton's still up here in this season. Is Burton still here? I don't think I saw them. No, it looks like Burton was in fact relegated in 2047. So their stay coming to a close. Portsmouth won the Europa League? I mean, I think that's what that means, because they qualified for the Champions League. I can't think of another way that would be possible. Wow. All right. So we'll get to that. I mean, you know what? Let's just do Europe now before we go down the rest of the leagues, because now I'm curious. So I don't think there's going to be any weird winners of the Champions League, just because none haven't really been very many surprising qualifiers. It is mostly English teams. So as we determined in the last sort of portion, this hasn't really had a negative impact on England as a whole. Really, I mean, it's PSG a couple times in here, a couple times Barcelona, Bayern in there once, but mostly dominance from the English sides nowadays. But if we go to the Europa League, this is where we've had more... Wow, Brighton won as well. Wow. Huh. Cool. So Portsmouth won in 47. Brighton won just now. West Ham won in there. Overall, this is less surprising. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. I think if you don't simulate the actual leagues in like other countries, they tend to not be as strong. But that could also... I'm not 100% sure if that's just like... If that's just a misconception on my part. If we go to the Europa Conference League, Derby's won it. Portsmouth has won it. Wait, did Portsmouth win this and the Europa League back to back? Is that what happens? This is 44. Oh, no, it wasn't. Okay. I thought they got to the Champions League by winning both European competitions back to back. That would have definitely been something. A lot of random teams in here, but we got Blackburn winning once. I think we already saw that in the last portion. But yeah, nothing too surprising other than the occasional surprise win with Derby or Portsmouth. Even then, the Europa Conference League is substantially weaker, so it's doable. But now let's see if anybody has had any success in the cup competitions. There we go, FA Cup. And, well, Portsmouth winning in 42, Blackburn winning in 39, West Ham winning 1. That's pretty interesting, actually. We've seen a little bit more switching around in the FA Cup now, some of the more surprising wins. That's always nice to see. And with the Carabao Cup coming in now, anybody in here? Southampton has just won. But other than that, just a Derby win about 15 years ago. And this one's been a bit more standard. West Ham winning one in there as well. So, Leicester's pulled themselves up a little bit. Has anybody sort of fallen down? I would be surprised, just because if we look at the Premier League, it's mostly Premier League teams from real life right now. Like, there's not that many surprising ones. I mean, Oldham's up here. That's kind of cool. They've become, wow, they've really become a yo-yo club. But, let's have a look, right? So if we go down to the Championship. West Brom going down. Alright, I mean, maybe West Brom could be starting on a bit of a downward spiral. Although they've been a yo-yo team as well, so not really too surprising there. Burton struggling to get back up. Not seeing much out of them. Going 6th there, losing in the playoffs. Oh, wow. Aston Villa's actually down in League 2 right now. So that's pretty big. Oh my god, Everton's down here too. Everton's just been promoted though. Oh, some of these yo-yos are insane. But yeah, Aston Villa going back down to League 2. They were in the Championship. Definitely being a bit of a yo-yo club there, even winning League 1 a couple times. But recently, it's been bad. It's been real bad. They've gone down. So it looks like they just got re-promoted last season and are now going down again. So they've gone from being a yo-yo club between League 1 and the Championship to being one between League 2 and League 1. So, just a slow collapse. You can see the reputation's down to regional now, which is, oh, that's depressing. Wigan's also down here. Still with a national reputation, so at least they have that going for them. Leicester, of course. Let's see. Anybody notable in League 2? I don't think so. I think we've already seen everyone notable. Yeah, not really. And, of course, I really doubt there's going to be anyone surprising here in the Vanarama National Leagues. Bolton. Well, yeah, nothing too surprising. So that basically gives us a pretty clear picture of what's going to happen here. I did say I was going to go 100 years into the future, but honestly, I don't know if that's really worth it at all. It's become very clear that this is kind of how things are going to be now. Everything is really normalized, especially over the last 15-year sim. There's been... at the end of the day, it was a little bit disappointing to me. I was surprised that these teams got back up on top so quickly, and really, they only gave time for one team in Salford to really establish themselves. So looking at the Premier League right now, the fact that there's only one comparatively small team here is really kind of sad. But, I mean, props to these teams, especially Man City, Liverpool, and Chelsea, who just rocketed up the leagues in quick succession. So, well done to them. And I guess it sucks to be Aston Villa, and it sucks to be Leicester. Anyway, this has been a fun idea, though. I enjoyed this one. I have a couple of other ideas for some experiments that I'm not entirely sure how to set up just yet. But if you guys enjoyed this, please drop a like. And if you guys have any ideas for future experiments, let me know in the comments below. And if you want to know when my videos go live, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell. Check out Liechtenstein Legends, which is about to see a big makeover as far as production quality goes once I get the rest of these sound panels done. It's going to be great. We have an intro song now that I got the rights for. And everything is going to be awesome in the second season of Liechtenstein Legends. So check that out. Get caught up by watching the budget season 1, but it was a very, very good season as far as storylines go. And I hope to see you back here for the next video. Have a nice day, everybody.